Hey everyone, Haley here from The Foiled Plan. I have not posted any foiling related content in a super long time, so I'm excited to be sharing a new foiling tutorial with you today. We are about a month away from Valentine's Day, so our craft today is going to be foiled Valentine's Day inspired cards. If you would like to purchase these cards or some of my other Valentine's Day collection, head over to my website, which is thefoiledplan.com. I'll have a link in the description box, and you can purchase my foiled cards that way. Or if you're interested in learning about the process of foiling, or if you want to make some foiled cards yourself, then stick around because that's what we're doing today. If you are already a foiled friend, thank you for joining me again today, and if you're new here, welcome. I share a lot of different content on my channel. Things like design videos, Cricut crafts, foiling, dollar store DIYs, epoxy tumblers, unboxings, and pretty much anything related to running a small creative business. So if that sort of content interests you, I encourage you to hit the subscribe button to become a foiled friend and turn the notification bell on so you never miss an uploaded video. Now that you know a little bit more about my channel, let's jump into today's video. Alright, so real talk, I've already filmed this video 4 times, or at least tried to, and it didn't work out. So let's hope for lucky number 5 right now. I said that in the last video, and hopefully I don't have to say it again. So for foiling, if you have absolutely zero knowledge about it, there are a few things that you will need. If you'd like to start back at my beginner foiling 101 video, I'll leave a link up here as well as in the description box below. That might be a good spot to start. And I also have a troubleshooting tips and tricks for the best foiling results video as well. So that might be of interest of you if you're running through some technical problems with foiling. So the few things that you need to foil are a way to create a design or get a design, and you'll need a laser printer, not an inkjet printer. Inkjet printers will not work for foiling. So my laser printer is monochromatic. That is what I do recommend. Now there are people out there that have color laser printers and have been successful in foiling. For myself, I much prefer a monochromatic. I think that it is much more reliable, and that's what I'm looking for when I'm foiling, because there's so many different variables that affect foiling. If you've tried it, I'm sure you know it's easy to run into issues. So monochromatic laser printer. The printer that I am using is old. I got it back in 2016, and it is the LaserJet Pro MFP M127FW. Don't ask me how many times I've had to repeat that or type it out in responses to questions. So that's the printer that I use. I do have it in my Amazon shop. However, I don't know that it's actually available anymore. So if you are looking for a printer, my suggestion is just to find a good quality monochromatic laser printer. Now, alongside the printer and a way to create your design or get a design, you're going to need a foiling machine. So I have a Minc machine. A lot of people are successful in using laminators as well. This is basically like a laminator on steroids, if you will. So there's more rollers. It has a wider opening so that you can fit larger pieces inside. You can actually do scrapbooking paper in there if you like. That's how wide it is. And with the higher number of rollers, you have more even heat that's distributed across the whole document, which is good. And then there's also different heat settings, which is important because with most laminators, you turn it on, you turn it off, that's it. You don't have much control over the temperature. So get yourself a great laminator or a Minc machine. There is other styles of foiling machine out there. I think there's one called a glaminator. There's lots out there. So just do some research and get yourself something like this for foiling. Then we're also going to need foil. Now, I am not partial to a specific brand. Today we're using Deco foil just because I had it on hand in the colors that I wanted. I also use Heidi Swap foil. I have both of those linked in my Amazon shop, so you can find it super easy. And then I also buy it in bulk from a Canadian distributor. And if you guys are interested in where I get all of my products, where I get my blanks, where I get my bulk foil, like all of that stuff, let me know in the comments below, because I was thinking about filming a whole video that goes over all of that stuff, because I've never done that before. And because I'm into so many different things, I'm not sure if it would be helpful to do it all in one video. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Can I put it all together? If you're not interested in epoxy cups and whatnot, maybe you're only looking for foil supplies, maybe it doesn't make sense to put it all together. I don't know. Anyways, okay, so that's what you're gonna need. And then I also have these pre-made cards. They came with envelopes. You can also just use paper, like copy paper or cardstock. I would definitely recommend cardstock over copy paper if you're making a card, just because they are sturdier. I think that is about it. I am also using my ruler today so that I can measure this and adjust the canvas size of my document that I'm printing. I think that's it. And I'm also using my iMac in the other room there. That's where I am going to be adjusting things and then ultimately printing them on the printer. So I think that's that. Let's get into this. Yes? Okay, so I created my design on my iPad Pro using the Procreate app. If you've never used Procreate or you're intimidated by it and want to learn about it, I have a whole series on Procreate, and we start from the very, very beginning of finding the app in the App Store, downloading it, and then going forward from there. So we take a very, very basic, slow approach to things so it's not overwhelming. So definitely check that out if you're interested. If you've bought your design somewhere else or you're using a different program altogether, it's all good. No problem. That works too. I'm going to show you how I take my design from my iPad and get it over to my computer. Now, because these are both Apple products, I would typically airdrop from one to the other, but my iMac is actually too old to recognize an iPad or an iPhone. It actually only recognizes other iMacs. Yeah. So, first world problems, I know. So what I actually do is send things to that computer via email. So I just email it to myself. I am going to start my screen recording. And I'm going to open up the Procreate app, and I have a Valentine's Day folder. So I'm just going to open up one of my designs.
Disclaimer: the following designs are for adults only. They are cheeky and may be found offensive to some due to strong language and adult themes. Please keep this in mind and feel free to click away if you do not wish to see content of this nature. Thanks, friends!
I'm going to export this as a PNG file, so I would like to have the background transparent. And so I'm going to click on the Layers menu, and then the last option at the bottom of this menu is going to be background color, so I'm just going to click the checkbox to remove that. Now it's very faint, but you can still see the design is here. And now I'm going to share the document or export the document. So I'm going to go to the Actions menu, make sure that it's set on Share, and then click PNG under Share Image. So it says Exporting. And now I'm going to click on the Mail button. And I'm going to email it to myself. And I'm just going to change this to say pizza. Not that it really matters. And then I'm just going to hit send. Export successful. So that's it. That's how I get it from my iPad over to my computer. So now I am going to just bring that background color back so that when I send this back to the gallery view, it's easier to actually see. So we're done with my iPad. So I'm going to stop my screen recording, and let's head over to the other room and we will get started on the computer.
All right, so I am going to first need to pull the designs from my email over to my computer. So I'm going to open up my email and I see all of my images are here. So basically I am just going to click on each of them and download. I'm just going to exit that. Download. And I apologize if these designs offend you. I think they're hilarious. Okay, so we have got our artwork. So now we're going to open up Inkscape. Now I already have Inkscape open from a previous document. I just deleted everything on the canvas, and I am going to need to adjust the size of this canvas. Well, I don't need to, but it's going to make things easier. So I am going to measure out the size of the card that I'm going to be using. If you're using a different size paper or cardstock, then go ahead and use those measurements. So the width is 8.25 inches. So to adjust that, we're going to go File, Document Properties. I like to display my units in inches. And I want this to be landscape. So my width, I'm going to change that to 8.25. And then my height is 5.75. So I've adjusted that. I'm going to hit tab. So you can see that as I'm doing things on here, the canvas was changing on its own. So you don't have to hit save or anything. Just exit out of that, and now your canvas is the right size. So because this is the full sheet that I'm printing, I only want the design to be on one half and then my logo to be on the other half. So I'm going to make sure that my design goes on the right hand side because that is going to be the front of the card. If you had it on the left, then the card would open the wrong way. So just make sure it's on the right. And then if you think about like a greeting card, a Hallmark card, the logos are always on the back of the card at like the lower half, or sometimes it's like midway up. Okay, so I'm going to insert a line in the middle of the canvas or the page, just so I can see where the middle of the card would be, so I can adjust my designs according to that. So I'm going to take this tool over here, click once. Doesn't really matter where you have this, just draw and try to get it as straight down as possible. Click again. And I know this is drawing another line, but I'm actually just going to go over here to my cursor and click that, and now we've got this line. Now I want to align this on my page, and your default is probably going to be something else, but just make sure you click on relative to and have it set on page. And then we're going to use this button here, which centers it on the vertical axis. So we're going to click on that, and I'm not sure if you noticed, it was a pretty small move, but it moved over to the center of the page. So perfect. Now we have a line. We can see what we're working with here, where the center of the card is going to be, so you know that's where the fold is. Before we print this, we will remove that so that it doesn't actually print on the card. So now we can import our images. So we're going to go up to File and Import. And which one am I going to do first? Let's do, I really like a pizza that, okay, so we're going to open it. and click OK. And it's massive, so we're gonna need to resize it. Now, because there's lots of space here and here, I know that if I adjust the height of my design to be exactly what the height of this card is, I won't have to worry about the design getting cut off with the margins because I know there's space at the top and bottom of the design. So if you don't have space like that, then obviously you'll have to make some adjustments. But my aspect ratio is locked, and I'm going to change my height to 5.75 inches, and it adjusts the width according to that so it stays proportionate. Sometimes the mouse is a little bit finicky. There, that is about centered. And now I'm going to add in my logo. So I'm going to go same process, file, import. Logo. This is also going to be massive. So we're going to make it small. This one I'm going to use this to resize it. And I like mine near the bottom of the card. I think even smaller. Yeah. Okay, so that's what the card's going to look like. I'm going to click on this and I'm going to move it to another layer, and then I'm just going to hide that layer so that I can turn it back on to do the next card. Okay. So to add a layer, I'm just going to come over here to my layers. I'm going to create a new layer, and above current is fine. Go ahead and add. Now I'm going to click on this to make sure it's selected. I'm going to right click and then move to layer. And I'm going to move that to layer 3 because right now layer 2 has a bunch of things on it. So now it's moved, so we can see layer 3, layer 2, and layer 1 are separate. So if so there's a little eye here. If you click on that, now it's gone. It's sort of like the show and hide feature in Procreate. If I want it back, I just click that and there it is. So for now, that's that. So it's time to print. Prick! Okay. Back to the drawing board. Printing it directly from Inkscape to my printer didn't work out so well. So let me think for a second here. Amazon is here. Okay. Let's try maybe save as. We're just gonna try something and hope for the best. Okay, so let's save as. It's not going to be an SVG. It's going to be a, let's make it a, let's make it a PDF. And I'm gonna call it pizza card. Let's save it. Sometimes you have better chances at adjusting your print settings if you're printing it from just your computer and not in Inkscape. So let's see. Pizza card. Okay, let's open this bad boy up. Okay, file, print. Okay, now I have a setting saved in my computer as small card because it's the exact dimensions of these. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. And let's see how it goes. So I'm just going to make sure that My quality is set on best. Heavyweight. Okay. Let's try this again. Back we go. Print. I don't like to be wasteful, so I am going to use the same one. I'm going to put it back in. I know it's not going to turn out okay, but I just want to make sure my sizing and margins and everything are correct. So, yes. Let's try this again. Honestly, this is like so typical of foiling and really any project. Okay. Okay, so my margins are slightly off, so that needs to be adjusted. I know it's kind of tough to tell because of this here overlapping it and this here overlapping it. But you see the space here is significantly larger than over here. It's like everything's too close to the center. So I'm going to make some adjustments to my margins, and then we're going to try and print it again. But we're getting there. We're getting there. Back to the other room. Here we go. Okay, so we finally have our cards printed, and now it's time to foil. So, as you can tell, like sometimes this takes a long time to actually get your stuff set up the way that you want it, but once you have it set up, then just make sure you save it, so if you want to make them again in the future, you can just either use it as a template or make adjustments to change it to something else. Yeah, so we have our cards now. So I have my Minc machine on, and I'm going to heat it up to the number 4. And then that light will turn green, and this will beep once it's up to temperature. In the meantime, I'm going to get my foil prepped, and we're going to get everything in the transfer folder. What I like to do to cut my foil down to make sure I'm getting the most product out of it as possible is I like to set it on top of, don't ask me why I do this, but I put the card or the paper inside the transfer folder, and I'm gonna do this one red just because Valentine's Day. Oh, it's beeped, so it's already up to, I was about to say up to speed, up to temperature. The reason I like doing it inside the folder to cut this is because I can set my scissors on top of the folder and I don't have to worry about scratching up the card or the paper or anything. I like to smooth it out with my hands. And I'm using a transfer folder today because I have small pieces of foil that I'm using. If it was just like one piece that was covering the whole thing, then that would be probably a time when I wouldn't use a folder. Just gonna move you guys closer so you can see. So I'm just gonna move this over to sort of the center of the transfer folder. And let's go. And I like to support the weight of the folder as it's going in. So I'm not like pulling it or forcing it in, I'm just supporting the weight gently. And it's slow, so be patient.
All right, so after multiple attempts at printing this design, finally getting to foil it, this is the final result with the foil peel. So I hope you guys didn't find these designs too offensive. I think they're funny. These are just a couple of the designs that are available for my Valentine's Day orders. They are on my website now. The next one I think is actually my absolute favorite. So I hope you like it too. And if you guys have any questions, just pop them in the comment section below. Now, having said that, if you are experiencing difficulties, you can see I still experience issues at times as well. Technology is great, but at the same time, sometimes it can be really, really frustrating. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed today's video. And if you want to hang out with me in between videos, be sure to head over to my other social media. It's all linked down below. And I hope you guys have an awesome day. That's all I'm going to say. Bye! And that beep sound is the sound that I did not make it to the printer in time to put paper in it. Hello, close up of my mouth. Sorry about that. Oh, nuts! I rolled over top of the mic cord. This is a disaster.